Now, the UN has launched an appeal for $1 billion to help the people of quake-hit Türkiye. Now, Aspen Pharmacare is doing its part. It's donated critical care medicines and blankets to both Türkiye and Syria. That's as rescue efforts continue after devastating earthquakes there. Numerous aid organizations, including the Gift of the Givers, are in those countries to help. An Aspen Group senior executive, that's Stavros Nicolaou, joins us now, of course, to talk to us about the efforts they're making, their contribution to assisting both Turkey and Syria. Stavros, thank you so much for your time and good morning to you. Why was it important to you as Aspen to get involved and lay a helping hand at this time?
Tamela, firstly, thanks very much for having me on your show again. It's really important as South Africans that we demonstrate our spirit of Ubuntu, of international solidarity when there are catastrophic events that affect both humanity and communities, in this instance, Turkey and Syria. So it's really important that we demonstrate this support and try and reduce the human suffering that is taking place, because this is what international solidarity is about in the first instance. But in the second instance, as a healthcare company, this is precisely what we do. We try and improve the lives of people, the quality of lives of people and patients. We also try and reduce mortality and morbidity. So this is consistent with what we do. But there's a much bigger picture here, and that bigger picture is the one of international solidarity, and South Africa has always had a spirit of Ubuntu, of generosity, and I think we have to display and demonstrate it again. And I'm really hoping that our very small contribution here as Aspen will also trigger other corporates in South Africa to follow suit. As you know, with these earthquakes, you go through various phases. So you're sort of 10 or 11 days on, and the needs and requirements change. And they now need things like mobile toilets, tents, those sort of things. So this changes all the time. But it's really important, both as a country and as corporate South Africa, that we demonstrate our solidarity here, and hopefully that's what, just having me on your show this morning, hopefully that's what it will achieve, if nothing else.
Yeah, and Stavros, I mean, Aspen has quite a reputation when it comes to aiding and assisting with relief efforts, both locally and internationally. We saw in South Africa, just here at home with the COVID-19 pandemic, you were one of the first to raise your hands in terms of assisting during a time where there was loss of lives. I can think of Ukraine, where you also assisted with medicine, assisting up to 62,000 patients who needed, medicine there. Some of our South African students who were stranded, you assisted with them coming back home. Talk to us about the relief that you're providing now. What exactly is it? And is it already on its way to Turkey and Syria?
Yeah, so we've concluded the Turkey part, and that included general anesthetic. So these are, of course, medicines that you require for emergency surgery, and that's where the need is greatest. Obviously, is with these emergency surgeries. Patients have been maimed, they're amputees. Severe damage has been inflicted, bodily damage and infrastructural damage, and these anesthetics are critical to provide these emergency surgeries. So that's in the first instance. In the second instance, there was an urgent need for blankets. I understand that there's been such a flurry of blanket donations that they no longer need donations, but certainly our contribution is on its way and will assist. And then thirdly, we're going to be assisting with sleeping bags. There's a need for sleeping bags as well. So that's just on the Turkish side. On the Syrian side, we're in contact with the Syrian Charge d'Affaires in South Africa, and that will be a medicine donation, again, general anesthetics and corticosteroids, drugs that are emergency drugs needed in these emergency type of situations. And I must just hasten to add that we've worked very closely and very well with both the Turkish embassy, the Turkish ambassador in South Africa. Aisha Candace has been superb. She's very driven, and I think eased the pathway for us to make these donations, and hoping to do the same with Syria as well later on today.
Yeah, and I just suppose in my last question to you, earlier on you made the appeal to other, companies, corporates, the private sector to also lay a helping hand, because at this stage, the relief will be needed from across the world. The entire globe has to rally around Turkey and Syria and just cover them with love, but also with assistance during this time. What's the important, significant role of corporates and the private sector during natural disasters? How can companies act with, a sense of urgency, I suppose, when it comes to countries that are in dire need, where loss of life is rapidly, being recorded at an alarming rate? What do you think is the significance there of corporates?
Tumelo, we've been inflicted by a number of natural disasters in recent times. I mean, I kind of felt that there'd be a settling down period after COVID, but that hasn't happened, right? And for sake of global peace and security, no country around the globe, no matter how powerful you are, can really realize its full potential unless we have global peace and security. And zeroing in on South Africa, a very similar set of circumstances here. We've been hard hit by flooding, by the looting and rioting that we experienced in KZN. So we've had a number of some man-made and other natural disaster-inflicted catastrophes.
Right.
And we all need to rally together to get this global peace and security, so that the globe and our own country, South Africa, can start to realize its potential. And that's really the importance of corporate South Africa and all other sectors in South Africa to step up and assist where they can, both domestically here, but also where you face an international crisis, as is the case in Syria and Turkey.